welcome to Senyati Safari Camp. I am just outside Kasungula in Botswana in an amazing campground just close to the Zimbabwean border. It's literally 500 meters away, and on the other side there is Zambezi National Park in Zimbabwe, and on the other side of me, on the western side, is Chobe National Park, the third largest national park in Botswana. So this place is without fencing. The elephants, the buffalo, the zebra, the impala, the wildebeest, they just roam completely freely in between the villages. And in the little waterhole down here, all during the day and particularly during the night, the elephants come. Last night there was a herd of more than 300 buffalo came by, and it's literally less than 50 meters from my tent. Unbelievable. But I'm in a very good spot. I feel quite safe here. You see, I have this little platform and I have my own private toilet and shower in the little house behind. So it feels quite safe here. I thought that today I wanted to go through my Honda and just tell you how I prepared my bike for this long distance adventure through Europe and Africa. I bought the bike in April 2020. It is a 2019 Honda CRF250L. There are a number of reasons that I bought this small-sized 250cc bike for this adventure. One of the reasons were financial. If I bought a more expensive bike, I would be able to travel a shorter period. Not only is the bike cheaper, but also getting a Carnet de Passage, insurance, parts, petrol usage, everything is just cheaper with a bike like this. Then comes the weight factor. It's a relatively lightweight bike compared to most adventure bikes. It's 146 kilos. And for me, traveling alone, it was quite important that I would be able to lift up my bike myself. But even with those 146 kilos, I actually have been in trouble a few times. The next reason was simplicity. I wanted a bike that I would be able to fix myself in most places of the world. I also wanted a bike that was a proven concept, a bike that had been used before to similar journeys. And the Honda CRF250L is, I wouldn't say becoming the most popular choice to do Africa travel, but it's definitely up there. Simply because of the things I just mentioned, the weight, the simplicity, and the price. The question I get from a lot of you is, what have I done to prepare my bike for this kind of traveling? And I thought I would use this chance to just go through every little change that I've done. I did quite a few changes to the bike, and then there are a few things that I wish I would have done. First of all, I changed the size of the tank. The original tank is 7.5 liters, and I put on the IMS tank, which is, to my knowledge, the largest available tank for this bike, and that is 13.5 liters. I also added a luggage rack where I could attach a Rotopax of 1 gallon, so that's 3.5 liters in there, and that gives me a range of about 500 kilometers. The next thing was protecting the bike. And I started with a set of Barkbuster handguards, and together with the handguards I also added some weighted ends that does add quite a lot of weight, but they also reduce the vibrations quite a lot. And as this is a small single-cylinder motorcycle, there are quite a lot of vibrations, and a full day going maybe 400 or 500 kilometers, you really feel it. Then I put on some crash bars from, I think it's called R&G. So there's a crash bar here, and there's some bobbins back here that will protect the whole brake if I crash and slide on the asphalt. I also put a little protector here on the brake caliper and on the rear brake fluid container here. Then I put on an engine cover on both sides. I think it's also R&G. This is something I'm really happy that I've done. I've personally witnessed a Suzuki DR Z400 having its engine cover broken open from crashing into some rocks. Then I added a skid plate. And let's see, what else did I do to protect the bike? I added this little transparent cover from Who's Said in Australia. They actually sponsored this one, so thank you very much, Who's Said. Another important protection was the radiator guard that doesn't only protect the front of the radiator but also the side. There's a part of the guard that goes up here on the side, which is pretty important because if you crash, you rarely crash right here on the front. You will typically crash on the side and then the radiator will be destroyed on the side. Here you see the engine protector on the other side. I think that's all the protection that I put on. I changed the suspension on the bike. I have a Hyperbro set up. You can see that here. And I changed both the rear and the spring in the front. In this bike there's only one spring. And I have to say that was one of the most expensive but also really best improvement to this bike for me. It was just a horrible suspension on the stock bike. I think I paid €1,000, but definitely worth it. I didn't lower the bike, even if I'm a very short lady. I just cut off 3 centimeters of the seat. And the seat is quite narrow. And I like to keep it slippery so that I can slide from one side to the other. And that has so far worked out pretty well for me. Of course, I've dropped the bike a few times, but I mean, I think I would have no matter what. For the luggage, I added racks, something that I am not sure if I would do it another time. Maybe I would add racks, but I would probably have something welded that was a little bit smaller and then just hang the bags over, do some kind of Velcro solution inspired by Wetzlar's Weltwärts, because I think this just adds a little bit too much weight. And I would also have gone with a more lightweight rear rack. In the cockpit here, I have first of all a little holder here for my phone holder. My phone sits in this little plastic pocket that I attached to this one. And I find this is working really well for me because this one doesn't transfer the vibrations from the bike into the phone. It's a very cheap solution, but it just works. And I have 2 different pockets. I have one that is completely waterproof, and I have one where I cut a little hole so that I can charge while riding. And for charging, I have a 12-volt cigarette charger here, and then I have a USB charger here. For my GPS, I use a Garmin Zumo XT. I have this RAM mount and with the charging unit right here. It's a horrible charging unit from Garmin. I'm very disappointed with it, but I do love the GPS itself. I just think that there are some things around the whole charging that is really not good enough. Then as I took off, I added heated grips, but they only worked a few months, then they broke, and I just found that they were really annoying riding with because they quickly became very slick, so my hands would be sliding. So recently I just changed back to the standard handles from Honda. I would have liked to add other levers, 2-finger levers. I never did, and that's something I really wish I would have done. I also changed the handlebar into a stronger twin-wall handlebar because the stock handlebar is known to be quite soft and bend very quickly, so I thought I'd just change that before I took off. I also added some bar risers, which is giving me a really comfortable sitting position. Then for comfort, I added a windscreen from Bajaworx in California and added this little wind deflector. Without the deflector, I find that this windscreen with this specific height and my height is just a bad combination because I get all this turbulence right in my face. I also changed the headlight into a Cyclops LED lamp, which is very strong and more durable. And that's the sound you sometimes hear on my videos. It comes from the fan on that LED lamp. Then finally I added some larger foot pegs. I think this is from Night Design. A very expensive solution that maybe I would have found a cheaper one, but it's a really cool solution. They're both lowered and wider and longer, so pretty comfortable foot peg that also will just move up if I crash. I also changed the tires, and currently I'm running Pirelli MT21 on the front tire and Dunlop D606 on the rear. It's a combination that a lot of CRF250L owners are running, and I have to say I really like this combination. Otherwise, I've been using the Metzeler Enduro Enduro Desert 3, which is also a really good tire. Recently, I updated the clutch from the standard clutch to a stronger one with 5 full friction plates. The stock clutch is a little bit weird. It has 4 friction plates, and then it has a smaller friction plate, and then it has 2 judder springs. So I removed the judder springs, the small friction plate, and then I added 5 full-size friction plates. And I feel it's working really nicely. I expect that clutch to last a little bit longer because I burned 2 of the stock clutches. And finally, I added some decoration. Of course, I brought my little bunny, which is my little lucky animal. This one is an octopus I got from a girl in Swaziland. Over here is a monkey that a guy gave me in South Africa. And then a bit of decoration. I mean, this is a girl, right? So she likes to be pretty. So I'm always trying to keep this girl happy. That was it. That was all the things I did to make my Honda CRF250L ready for a trip that was gonna last 1 year. But as it seems now, it's gonna be lasting a lot longer. So I hope you appreciated that walkthrough, and let me know what you would do to your adventure. What have you done to your adventure bike? Is there anything that I've been missing that I should have done? Would you have done it differently? And what bike is the perfect adventure bike for you? Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed it, give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next video.